Hello, my name's Stephen. Thank you for joining and watching this video. In this video I'm going to be sharing my journey about how I came from being a antichrist, pagan, shaman to finally finding the truth and Jesus coming to me and saving me. And in this video I'm going to be going over how my views changed from my younger years until now. I'm going to be briefly going over these things like how in my early years I thought God hated me. In my late teens became a man of science. As my life progressed I became a militant atheist, mixed in spirituality, analytical idealism, and then finally opening my heart to Jesus Christ. And that's all 36 years broken down right there. Check the timestamps at the bottom of the video if you feel like skipping parts of it. Let me break down how I thought God hated me. I had a very harsh life. I had a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, neglectful mother. She basically wasn't there for 13 years and then completely was off grid for after I was 13. My father was an addict, drugs and alcohol, very violent man. Yeah, I don't think I should bother going into how bad that was, but it was all of these things. The school life, absolutely brutal. The bullying, the violence, gang violence was so bad that one of the students ended up losing his life after being viciously attacked. I'm just going to whiz through all of these things, and let me know in the comments if you want me to reply to anything. I don't really like talking about myself. That's why I'm kind of hesitant when I go into these things. But this is all to glorify Jesus Christ, and yeah, just to show how far away from God you think you are. But He's actually always there, waiting for you patiently to come to a point where He can raise you up in proper time. And this is my story. So I'm an open book. I don't mind sharing these things, but for the sake of this video I'm going to just whiz through it all. So all of those things, parents, school, crime and gangs, it was just a brutal life. It was a brutal life. No one to help me. I always thought about the deeper meaning to life. How can it be this way? It doesn't make any sense because of how extreme it was. And I just literally concluded that God exists and He hates me. So I joined the British Army to escape home. The army was a walk in the park compared to my childhood. So I picked up this book, 13 Things That Don't Make Sense, in an airport when I was on leave in the army. And it was a book about 13 scientific mysteries that no one can answer. And it turned out to be some of those 13 turned out to be the questions that we all want answers to. And once reading all of this, I just felt like I had permission to kind of like join in and figuring out the life's mysteries, because I've always wondered why life is the way it is, and I just started getting deep into it. But in the book, that was the stepping stone into how I became a man of science. So here's the top 5 or is it something deeper going on there? It just really opened me up to the fact that we as a civilization don't know the answers that I believe that we should know. Obviously, now being a Christian, God answers all of those. God gives us those answers. Mainstream science is atheistic, it's materialistic, it is it's its own antichrist religion, and I identified myself as an intellectual. I thought that we can figure out the universe and its mysteries with our brains, so we can figure that out for ourselves. And I used to love watching Richard Dawkins, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Lawrence Krauss and other people like that bashing religion and philosophy, saying that like they're not even valid valid means, valid modes of exploring the nature of the universe, the meaning of life, and all of those type of things. So, you know, I used to just love getting kicks out of watching Dawkins destroy religious people, right? So, as I just crunched so much scientific data, scientific knowledge in all aspects that I thought would come close to any of those five here. Obviously, those expanded into other questions, but I made my way to up to quantum theory and had a moment of so-called enlightenment. You know, that I was meditating on the theory, on the quantum theory, how everything's connected. The quantum theory says everything is connected. Separation is just an illusion to the conscious agent and stuff like that, and everything's made out of energy potentials and things like that. And I was meditating on that one day, and I had this spontaneous feeling of connectedness, of a deeper mind, and that planted the seed that materialism is not the foundation. So I started going into that. I started focusing more on consciousness, which exposed me to the hard problem of consciousness, which is the scientific problem of them trying to explain how conscious experience, qualia, can be produced by non-conscious matter, especially as they claim and they chant that the universe is an accident and it's meaningless and it's just chance and time and blah blah blah. So yeah, I switched from materialism to consciousness being fundamental. While going back and forth with science and philosophy, I explored my own consciousness, my own mind, using psychedelics, mostly psilocybin mushrooms. I was getting up to very high doses, 27 grams, which is a lot. Like they say, a heroic dose is 4 grams. I was taking 27. I did learn a lot of things, a lot of good things. What I would classify as good. Jesus would say that they are not good because you can judge something by the fruits that it bears. So temporarily, or in a specific view, they seemed good at the time, but did it help me out? Did it solve my problems? Did it taught me how to be a good person? But there was something missing that only Jesus Christ can give you, which I'll get into later, but I don't want to go into tangents. Let's stick to it. Stick to the script. I started practicing shamanism and trying to gain deeper insights from the other side of the veil and trying to map it out. I know that's crazy, but I did it. I tried to do it. At that point in my life, I was 25 until 34, 35, something like that. At this point, I was well aware of spiritual warfare from what I've learned from our normal mental state as well as my altered state. So I did encounter dark forces and good energies. It's hard to describe these things because we don't have the language, being as it's from this altered state, and you can't use the same descriptors in the same way, and I don't want to spend too much time breaking it down. So I knew that there was this spiritual warfare going on. I just didn't know that it was biblical, and the Bible speaks about that. I was trying to find out if I could effectively fight against these forces. Yes, I am a bit crazy, but I don't care, because now, following Christ and knowing that He already conquered everything, increases my love and gratitude for Him. So you can imagine when I'm trying to be this, I think I can do something about it as a sinful human. And I know that there are these serious dark forces out there, and there's nothing I can do about it. Just imagine how that made me feel when I realized that Jesus did that for me. That didn't even click for me until I was about 6 months into being a Christian. So I knew God was real at this time, but I just didn't know who God is, and that is very important. On the second to worst day of my life, Jesus came to me and filled me with peace I never felt before. So just before that happened, I was exploring deeper Carl Jungian theories of synchronicities and psychology and stuff like that. And as I was doing that, I was having these very strange synchronicities in my life, which are basically, Jung describes synchronicities as coincidences that you can't just, wave off and dismiss as chance. So for example, one day I was listening to, I kept on having Jesus Christ, the theme of Jesus Christ and the Bible pop up on my YouTube feeds, or people talking on podcasts that I wasn't expecting to bring up Jesus Christ and the Bible. And at that time, which was just a couple of years ago, I was thinking, who cares? I don't care about that stuff. Like, I was open. I looked into all sorts of religions and spiritual paths, Taoism, Buddhism. I got books of Dhammapada, Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. Ancient civilizations. I was going into all of those things, but I never entertained Christianity because of the amount of propaganda we're exposed to, and I just thought it was silly and ridiculous, so I never gave it the light of day. As I was trying to get away from people bringing that up, I was listening to a podcast about a story about how Carl Jung was, I can't even remember it off the top of my head, but basically, or someone was quoting from the Bible about how you can come to, what will happen if you come to Christ. And as that was quoted, I was at work and I was driving a truck, and I pulled up in front of a building, and written on the side of the building, on one of the supporting beams on the outside, was written the exact same quote. And as the quote was recited in the video, I was I was listening to the audio. I was reading it as it came out, and that was just proper spooky. And I was like, how can that be? What are you trying to tell me, universe? Like, because I already was aware that the universe was like speaking to me, giving me signs and stuff like that, but I didn't understand why it would come at me with something like Christ-like. And yeah, I just kind of like, I don't like waving those things away. I'll watch out for my biases, or try to at least. And I know, I got into shamanism while looking out for my biases. I know. We can kid ourselves. There's no limit to how much we can kid ourselves. Anyway, I was waving that off. But anyway, that was shortly before. That synchronicity happened to me shortly before he came and filled me with peace. When that happened, I ordered a Bible and went online, and while I was waiting for it to come, to be delivered, I went online to find answers to all the anti-Christ propaganda that we were fed from society, from science, sexualized advertising, Hollywood, everything in the media, everything that we're exposed to seems to be very anti-Christ. So as I was waiting for the Bible to be delivered, I went online and started looking, trying to find out the answers to these questions that I had already in my head against Christianity. So, for example, why does the God of the Old Testament seem so angry, violent, or mean compared to the loving Jesus in the New Testament? How can God be jealous? Isn't jealousy a sin? How can I trust the Bible if it's translated from translations, that old myth? Why would God tell Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac and then stop him at the last second? Seems pretty crazy and unjustified to me. How God, the Father, and Jesus and the Holy Spirit be the same God at the same time? What exactly is sin? Why does it seem like everything is sin? Why does God allow so much suffering or send people to hell if he's supposed to be all loving? Those things were what was in my head. And finding out the answers to these questions, strengthened my faith before I even got the Bible. So yeah, after looking at the evidence and what I experienced myself, the existence of Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection was an undeniable fact. Yeah, so undeniable fact. You know, something very interesting happened just before Jesus came to me as well. So Billy Carson, that type of person, those type of people, I was entertaining their ideas way too much. And Billy Carson had a debate with a Christian apologist, a biblical scholar called Huff. And I realized early in the video that Huff was making sense. And I stopped watching the video because I was suffering from a bit of cognitive dissonance. I didn't want him to burst my bubble. And if I looked as stupid as Billy Carson did on that debate, you know, that's something I didn't want to accept. So I stopped watching it, and I thought I'd look into it later, but I was just putting it off, just being a bit of a biased coward, and yeah, denying Jesus right there. So anyway, a month goes by and it's still on my mind, and I'm like, come on dude, you claim to be a truth seeker, you know this is biased, you know you just don't want to give up all of that entertaining cool ideas about ancient civilizations and aliens, blah blah blah. Anyway, so I went back, forced myself to watch it, and realized that those ideas are built on sand. And then Huff went on to Joe Rogan and spoke about how the Bible is reliable, how true it is, and things like that. Just crazy how God planned all of those things coming to me, you know, him opening up my heart and my mind for me to finally accept him. And once I did, I asked Jesus to heal my neck. I couldn't bend my neck further than that, otherwise it would just be absolute. I couldn't do it just because of the pain. I don't know what it was. Doctors couldn't help me. And yeah, I couldn't do it. I asked Jesus to heal my neck, and in the space of about 4 to 7 days, so about a week, slowly the pain just started to go away, and then I could move my neck more than I can move it over to my right now. So that was just in the name of Jesus. I asked him, if you are willing, please heal my neck, which was funny because I thought, I had it in my mind that after the Bible stops, there are no like miracles, there are no awesome biblical magic stuff going on. I don't mean like I don't want to sound like a heretic when I say magic, but you know, I think it's the way I'm using that word, I mean no offense, but I just thought that there were no miracles going on anymore. And then I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I found out that God was still healing people, and I was like, well, you know, I could do with a bit of healing, this is killing me. So I just asked him to heal me, and he did. Yeah, once I absolutely, with my mouth and my heart, I pronounced my love and acceptance of Jesus Christ, that he died for our sins, after having understood what sins are, what it is, and how the Old Testament was planting those seeds of the ultimate sacrifice, which is Jesus Christ. I started to be tormented by demons. Satan targeted me. You know, who does Satan hate more than anyone else? He hates Christians more than anyone else, so he will target them trying to intimidate me or trying to make me think that this is not the way to go. If I go this way, I'm going to be attacked by demons. But yeah, demons started tormenting me in my dreams, and I called Jesus Christ to save me, and he did every single time, and he spoke to me. So yeah, I was being tormented. I just called Jesus Christ to save me, and he did. These dreams were very vivid and unlike anything that I've ever experienced before. I think it was the second dream. I was in this hellish pit, being tied to a chair with all sorts of demons around me, attacking me with spears and swords. And I called Jesus, he came, and everything vaporized into a white mist, and I was falling through clouds, and then Jesus was next to me, just pure light, and he said, I knew it was him, and he said to me, Stephen, you have nothing to fear ever again. If you are in trouble, if you ever need me, just call on my name and I will come. I will save you. And he's true to his word. He is, and I know that from my experience. So I recently made a citizen's arrest last week, and throughout the whole situation I was praying to Jesus. I'm always thinking of Jesus. Everything that I do, I'm always thinking of Jesus, always. He's never not on my mind in the last 11 months. Even when I'm being a bad Christian, I am just, filled with either guilt when I'm bad and trying to pray to him to get me to stop because I can't stop it myself. And even when I'm good, it's gratitude. It's like, Jesus, this is awesome. God, you're awesome. So anyway, that night when I made this, so basically what happened was I was having a break at a supermarket. So I drive and I stopped off at a supermarket. And as I paid and then went to the bakery just next to the till, someone with a red bag, a dude with a red bag, was walking fast away from the till, and the women were shouting at him to stop. And I live in Germany and my German's not 100%, and I didn't understand why, or like he forgot something, I wasn't sure. And everyone around him was trying to say, they're calling you forgot something or something like that. He just kept his head down and was like waddling kind of fast towards the exit. And then the woman ran after him. She called another woman at the desk right at the front and next to the entrance and was saying help. And I was like preparing myself, thinking of Jesus, what shall I do? And as soon as they stood in front of the guy, the thief, he tried to push his way through, and that's when I just dropped my stuff and ran over and grabbed him by the shoulders, and I told him to stop, don't make it worse for yourself. With my right hand I grabbed the big red bag that he had, while I was holding on to his shoulder with my left, and the staff, the women, were trying to pull on the bag as well, or one of them was, but he was really holding on, so I grabbed it and just started to apply force and just increased the force until he let go, and he just let go, and he was trying to get around me. I just told him to stop. I said that I was in the army. You don't want to mess around. Just chill out. Take a breath and don't make this worse for yourself. And I wasn't being I could see how scared he was, and I wasn't trying to be intimidating. I was just trying to give him a matter of fact, you don't want to mess around with me, which got him to stop trying to move around so much. And I just told him to chill out, take a deep breath, don't make this worse for yourself. The police are coming. There's nothing you can do apart from making it worse, so just stop. He stopped when the men came who worked at the place. We all took him off. We all took the thief to a back room, locked him in there, waited for the police to come. Well, I left. They waited, and that was it. So the reason why I'm explaining that is because that night, that very same night, I had dreams of a winged demon and Jesus come and save me again. But this one was insane. How intense it was. It was just like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 15. It was just so like instantly, like I was. It was like a version of my house. I was looking outside of the big garden door windows, and doors that are made out of glass. And I was looking at the house across the street, and then this demon came, winged demon, no feathers, just like reptile skin, and he had like a type of muddy bronze color to him, naked, and he just came up to the window like, I'm gonna get you. And this was so strange because I knew that I wasn't gonna get away. He came sprinting towards my house, and I went to go away, but I knew, like, I had this knowledge, I'm not getting away. So for some reason I just opened up the door and I let him in, and he came in and he grabbed me exactly the same way as I grabbed this thief earlier in the day in my wake, in reality. And he just had this crazy grin, just like eyes wide open, crazy grin, like, I've got you, you're mine, and shit's gonna get real now. And while all of this was happening, this is like split seconds, I was lucid, and I was thinking, I can run, nope, I can't run, I can hit him, nope, what, I can't do anything, I'm powerless. So I just like gave up, I just relaxed, and I just called Jesus Christ. I said, I just called Jesus Christ, please save me. And as I did that, I just felt peaceful, and then the demon disappeared, and I woke up. And it's every time. Another time I had a dream of being dragged. I'm not even sure if I'm going to say it's a dream, but there's a chance that it might have actually happened, but I'm not sure. But in the dream, I'm going to say, I was pulled out of my bed, out of my bed by my feet, or started to be pulled out of my bed, and I woke up to that and shouted, Jesus, like, help me, with the intention of helping me, but I only managed Jesus, and it instantly stopped. The pulling on my feet stopped, and I sat up in bed. And in the panic, this is why I say I'm not sure if it was real or in a dream, is because I was so like startled, and I jumped out of bed. I'm not sure where I was, in what position I was in the bed as I was being pulled. Like, did that really just happen, or was it a dream? Hopefully it was just a dream. And I don't mean like it's not real, because we can be tormented in our dreams too. So up until about 2 months ago, I was a Protestant, just the Bible, NIV Bible, and then seeing orthodox Christians, and like, what is that branch, like, what is Catholicism? Looking into all of that stuff, I just kind of logically and rationally understand that Orthodox Christianity, which is the unbroken chain of the early church fathers with an unchanged chain of church fathers, priests, bishops, that why would anyone else be anything but that, right? So that's why I'm looking into the Orthodox teachings and want to convert officially to that. Unfortunately, where I live now in Germany, it is not very easy to find an English-speaking priest, orthodox priest. So, looks like we're at the end of the video. Let me think. So that's kind of the end of this video. I kind of feel like I have so much to say about how much I love Jesus Christ, why I love Jesus Christ, what I've learned so far, and I want to do it all now that I'm finally in front of a camera, making videos to share the awesomeness of God from my experience. Please let me know what you think of this video, of my story. If you want me to go into anything that I've gone through here. This is 36 years that I've kind of broken down in a nutshell, but I'm happy to go into things deeper. You can expect in the future is me speaking to people on TV, especially targeting Muslims, to wake them up from their false religion. So at the age of 35, I just found out that, a year ago, I just found out that Muslims apparently claim to worship the same God as Christians. Looking into that, just experiencing what they're talking about blows my mind. Islam is false. Prophet Muhammad is a fake, false prophet. There are a lot of good Muslims I have met personally who don't know the Quran, who are brainwashed and are open to the truth, which is why I go on TV and look for Muslims specifically, to wake them up and share with them the truth, and showing, I don't want to go into it too much, but that's what I've been doing recently. And since doing that, I want to open up debates. I want to host debates on this channel with Muslims, with atheists, because I was part of all of that stuff, with pagans. God gave me the gifts that He gave me to use to glorify Him. And if I don't multiply my bag of gold into the pit, He's going to throw me. Because if I don't use what He gave me, it's disrespectful, it's not love, and I choose to go to the pit. And I don't choose that, so I want to do something. I want to glorify God. I want to bring the truth to people who need it. And if there's a religion that is just based, the core is just antichrist, that's why I'm targeting Islam. So stick around if you want to see any of that stuff. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Please give me feedback. Let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. Let me know what I'm doing wrong, and what I can improve. Bear with me as I'm new to speaking into a camera. This is very uncomfortable, unnatural to me, but I will do anything to glorify Jesus Christ, the Father and the Holy Spirit. Amen.